Good morning, everyone. Today is the 23rd of March, 2020. It's Monday morning. It's right around 8 a.m. Mountain Time. Welcome as you come in. Oh, yes, I gotta have this morning. As many of you, I'm probably, a little bit on the edge of my seat, literally right now, because I'm doing this kind of hastily without setting up the studio. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for letting me know that everything's okay as far as the video and the sound. Again, I'm having to do it on my phone. Computer's kaput. We'll try to get to it later. You'll never guess why I decided to come on this morning, because I wasn't going to. I've been tweeting out and I've been putting up posts on the community board, and it's all been about I wanted to wait and see what happens or what happened yesterday and today. I tell you what, I will come on tomorrow morning if everything works out all right as far as the signal and all that, and we'll have a longer visit tomorrow if you would like. But the reason why I came on today, as most of you should know, I really don't read my comments once the video goes up. And of course, I look at the chat as best I can when I'm done talking with you all. But I don't check my comments. I got out of that habit a long time ago. I'm not saying that you can't go make comments because I leave it there so that you can. But it's just that it's just a lot to try to address, and so I figure I'm probably going to cover some of that information eventually anyway. And on top of that, I get tired of the trolls, and the nasties. And so, the best way not to deal with them is out of sight, out of mind. And that way I'm not cultivating them either. And I hope you all don't as well. I know some of you probably get on there and argue with them for and in behalf of me, but don't feel like you need to do that, okay? Yeah, I don't feel like you have to. Notice, often I do morning impromptus and all that from the coffee shop, cafe. Well, obviously I can't. It's closed. They only have the takeout and curbside, but they also change their hours. They don't even open until 11 a.m. now. And yes, I saw somebody say that the restaurants are taking a big hit. The servers, yes, they are. This is all disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful. I tweeted out this morning that if you all follow me on Twitter, you'll see what I did. I sent a couple of tweets to POTUS. This is out of control. Uh, Mayors and governors in several states are taking this way too far and becoming tyrants. What is that supposed to do? The state should be a refuge for us against the federal government, not the other way around. But everything's crazy now. Everything, right? Anyway, back to why I came on this morning. Uh, Nancy Morgan Hart, several months ago, I guess it's been, I'm not sure how long ago, Headlines with a Voice, she might even be on here, although it sounded like she had to go and do some things. She sent me a I guess it was an email. I'm not really sure. Anyway, we started communicating by email, and then we just decided to, exchange phone numbers and talk on the phone. And so we've done that from time to time. And you all know I have so much appreciation for her and what she does, as well as others. But we'll just talk about Nancy this morning. And so she texted me this morning, and she says, "When are you going to do another live stream? Arg, arg," or something like that. "You got to do another live stream right away, arg, arg." And I wrote her back and I said, "Well, I'm waiting to get through today because I want to see what's going on today. Today's going to be critical. Yesterday was, but today the stock market's already fallen several hundred points this morning, and I suspect it'll go further. And I don't use the stock market as a big thing for me. It's an indicator, okay? But it's not an indicator of Main Street. It's an indicator of Wall Street, right? And I was always a little upset that Trump hung his hat on how well Wall Street was doing. If you all followed me for any length of time, you know I was very much against that. We needed to go after the deep state. And I've argued with my Republican insider about this and other people. about whether Trump could accomplish, going after the deep state or not. But he should have used something to go after them, because look what they're doing now. All of these restrictions in place, curfews, uh, restaurants and small shops, and even gatherings of people. Good, decent Americans are threatened with prosecution and jail for exercising their rights, and they're letting criminals out of jails to make room for us, I would guess. They're saying the coronavirus so people don't get it. But whatever, and you have these mayors and these governors throwing these horrible restrictions and curfews and all of that out there to the good people. And yet, none of the coup plotters have been collared. The real criminals they're letting out. And people like Hillary and Brennan and Clapper and Comey, et cetera, Strzok, Page, and we could name, dozens and dozens of these people. They're out roaming the streets free. Oh, they might be in their homes on this faux coronavirus thing. I know, I'm going to call it the Wuhan virus, okay? I don't give a shit. I'm going to call it the Wuhan virus. It could very well be that RIC or CIA, who are in bed with the Chinese, I might add, didn't work with the Chinese to set this thing up because they really want to take America down. They tried everything else, so this was the second thing to do. And Trump goes along with it, which doesn't make me happy. I'm not saying that you can't respond to a biological attack, but so far I'm not impressed. I could tell it was a biological weapons release as far as the tactic that was used. But watching the numbers and what's real, you just heard that Italy has been pumping their numbers up. Well, why would they do that? Why would they claim that people with coronavirus are dying when Wuhan virus are dying when in fact it's other causes? And they're just attributing it to that. Well, it's all about scaring the public, justifying the draconian, authoritarian, tyrannical measures that the politicians want to take because all of their economic policies have failed, all of them. So they want to make it our fault that their system, which has so many damnable things about it, has fallen apart. And they're going to make you pay for it. Does that surprise you? It doesn't me. So anyway, Nancy Morgan Hart says to me, you really got to go on just to let people know that, you're still paying attention and, they'd like to visit, which surprises me. I'm very much against cults of personality, even if I'm the personality. Okay. I'm very uncomfortable with that. But I know a lot of us are cooped up right now and there's nowhere to go. No, we can't see anybody. We can't, like me, I can't go see my buddies at the coffee shop or, talk to the ladies there, which is one of my pastimes. So, no, I understand completely. Yeah, why is the presidential seal removed from the podium? Pam Jones, actually, as you all know, Pam Jones had that person sent her that picture and saying, well, where's the presidential seal and this other flag? I hadn't actually noticed it because I frankly can't stand to listen to POTUS and his team right now. I just can't. They irritate me. What the hell is Fauci doing there? I mean, we find out now he's got this love affair with Hillary Clinton. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but what the hell is he even doing in the White House? I swear I don't understand these advisors that Trump gets. It's got to be on purpose. I can't look at it any other way. Anyway, I keep jumping around too much. I'm sorry. So I don't know what that means for the presidential seal to be gone. To me, it means that the continuity of government has taken over. That's what I would anticipate it means. That the president now has no powers. He's nothing more than a talking. Now, I saw an argument on Twitter yesterday saying, oh, there have been no 25th Amendment processes. They haven't taken him out of office because there's been no movement in Congress. Ladies and gentlemen, when has the IC followed the law? When? When have Pelosi and Schumer et al. Followed the law? Why did Mike Pompeo get up there and talk about a live exercise? And I know Nancy Morgan Hart addressed that She thinks that the context was slightly different. But I went back and listened to it again. There was no reason for him to use that phrase, live exercise. And let me tell you why. I've been at exercises, one of which I've talked about before. I was at Twell Army Depot when just to make this story real fast, when a bomb was placed on an igloo door, and I went and investigated it. Short story, it was not a bomb, it was a hoax. It was a joke, bad one, I might add. It could have gotten him killed. That electrical contractor was playing on one of the federal police officers who carry M16s and M60 machine guns and at that time M79 grenade launchers. I mean, the guy they could have filled him full of holes. But at any rate, make a long story short, I solved the thing. I went down there. I was there by 7:30 in the morning. I had the whole crime solved, the suspect arrested, the evidence in an evidence bag, everything by probably 8:15. Okay. And I reported that to the EOC where the commander was. And this is, you can go look this up in the newspapers at the time because it was so freakish. He tells me to put the bomb back on the door, that they're going to play it to the hilt. Play it to the hilt. Why did Pompeo say live exercise? The presidential seal's missing from the podium. I don't know what that other flag that was there, as you look at the speakers and all that, there's another flag to the right. I was told that's a UN flag. Frankly, I don't know, but I doubt it. But whatever it was removed as well. And the flag, the American flag, was left there with its gold fringe, which most of you should know what that means. I suspect that Trump is a talking figurehead at this point, and he's just doing what he's told. That's my guess. I don't think he's been in control. Well, he hasn't been in control because remember I said he lost the initiative because he didn't do anything. He didn't take any decisive action in his first 6 months to go after these coup plotters. He didn't do it. And everybody will say, well, he couldn't because of the investigation, the Russia investigation, all tied his hands up, et cetera, et cetera. And all I say to that is horse hockey, horse manure, horse shit. Okay? He could have. But he kept getting people like Sessions, and then Huber was on the investigation. That's why I called that right from the start. And then we get Mr. Ruby Ridge. What are you having for pancakes, Mrs. Weaver? William Barr. Nancy Morgan Hart does that. When she talks about Barr and all these crazy things, that the government's doing. What are you having for breakfast this morning, Mrs. Weaver? We're having pancakes. These people are evil. Barr is evil. And Trump keeping them in power. You might say, well, he doesn't have any power. Well, then, I think that's been proven. They've taken the presidential seal off the podium. Something's going on. I'm not pretending I know what it is. But something bad is happening. Absolutely. So that's why I wasn't going to come on until tomorrow. I wanted to wait and see how bad the stock market was hit today, and if any more draconian measures are going to be put in, not just by the federal government, but by the states. Trump letting these governors and these mayors have free reign. Now, I understand that the power of the states, hi, Liza Jean, the power of the states is really where the power of the federal government is supposed to come from, and I'm good with that. And I don't want the states to be messed with. The problem is that it's like they don't have, it's like they're taking advantage of this for their own power. They're in cahoots with the federal government rather than balancing that power out. And of course, it's been that way for a long time. So at any rate, I can't answer all your questions. I can't come up with any particular answers right now. Nancy Morgan Hart said to me, Roy, just go on and let the people see you and have a little chat today. I'll try to get into more detail tomorrow, but it really depends on what happens today. You all can see what's happening. You all can see that, all of you. Hi, Nancy, I see you're here. I can't put it any other way. We're in trouble. The little people, again, are getting it stuck to them, and our economy is being deliberately imploded. Now, I have a problem with the world economy. I always have. Okay, it's run by the elites. And you know who all those are. It's a fiat system by and large. It only enriches the rich. I mean, you can do well in a truly free market, but they've destroyed it over the last, well, since the Federal Reserve Act of 1913, they've destroyed it. So it's not really the system that I'm aligned with or that I feel needs to be saved. It's how they've used that and how they're using it now. Oh, I'd love to change it, but they're going to change it so that they can remain in control, so that we're still not free. And that's the problem I have with what they're doing now. They're destroying a lot of people's lives, and most people can't wait 30 days. You know, it's been some time now, but Trump's saying another 7 minimum, and then we'll see where we are and where we need to go from there. They could extend it out another 30 days, 18 months we've been hearing, hell, years for that matter. The Democrats and the powers that be would just love that, the IC, the deep state. Remember, Trump was the figurehead that represented our concerns, the people's concerns. So they had to take him out, cause him all this trouble. It was really a psychological thing to tell us that we don't stand a chance, despite all the flowery talk of all the conservative pundits. And we just had an earthquake. Did you hear that? That was an earthquake. I'm in Salt Lake City right now. I came down from Evanston. We just got hit with I'd say it was probably about a 3.8. Did you see that? Yeah, that's an earthquake. We had I think it was a 4.0 yesterday morning. And of course, the big one last week was a 5.7. Boy, that was something else. And I've been in some good earthquakes. That was pretty good. Anyway, so you see where I am. I don't feel that Trump has ever done the right thing as far as, I mean, again, they're threatening jail to people like you and me who just want to have our freedom of assembly. And they're trying to say that they have powers not granted in them by the Constitution to force these things on us. Now, is it right that, Trump come up or the mayors and the governors say, look, everybody, let's all get together on this. It would really help. It would really help if you had some social distancing, wash your hands. All those things that they're saying are fine. But these draconian measures that are coming out in the states, and of course, Barr goes along with it. He's not threatening any of these mayors or governors, with violations of civil rights. Of course not, because he's never liked the First, Second, and Fourth Amendments, and he's said so, and he's also demonstrated that by his actions. And apparently Trump feels the same way, despite his rhetoric, because he's actually attacked those things as well, hasn't he? Yeah, he has. So do I trust Trump to get us out of this? No. I would like to be like Gigi Sims, who I have a lot of respect for. I think she got a little upset at me for some of the things I said, I tweeted to Trump last week. But yeah, Trump might be in a rough spot if he's for real, but I'm not certain he is. And you know that I have my reasons for that. I need to see real results. Oh, and that reminds me of another thing I wanted to say. And I guess I should say this. I told you about what you do when you're on the battlefield. At the National Training Center at Fort Irwin, that's the training center for upper level field grade officers and flag officers, generals, not admirals. They don't go there. And one of the tests there is that if you are going into battle and you have an objective, and yet one of your, let's say, not even a battalion, but let's say a company or even a platoon. Okay, you're a division commander, so you have brigades under you, usually at least 2 brigades, and then each brigade has at least 2 battalions, and each battalion usually has at a minimum 2 companies. It's usually more than that, but I'm using this for illustrative purposes. And then each one of those companies will have 3 to 4 platoons. Okay, and a platoon is, say, about 40 men. Okay, and I'm going to say men. I don't want women to get drafted. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. Damn, we're losing everything we ever worked for. Our rights and our women and our children. This is getting ridiculous. All for PC and anyway. So at the NTC, what they'll do to these generals is they'll get a platoon or even a squad, okay, of 9 guys involved in a really nasty firefight to see if that will take the general's mind off of his objective and then try to fight that lower command's battle rather than letting them fight it. All because we don't want to lose lives. So I've got to go protect, I've got to put my entire division at risk. Do you see where I'm going with this? I'm willing to put my entire division at risk to try to fight the battle over here for those 9 guys. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Do you see what's happening here? It's the same thing they're doing with this Wuhan virus. The same exact thing. They're killing off the division, the country, the world, to save some casualties. Now, I'm not saying the lives aren't worth it, but I'll say this, and I wrote this down the other day. I got to tell you this. Do you remember Mr. Pollock from the Parkland shooting? It was his daughter. His daughter was one of the victims of that shooting at the Parkland High School. Mr. Pollock. This guy's a hero. I think he understands things. And one of the things he said is, do not use my daughter's death to attack the Second Amendment. Don't do that. Well, I say the same thing. If I get sick from this Wuhan virus, don't destroy the whole damn country and the whole damn world to try to save me. You know? Let me fight that battle and I might lose it. But don't try to tell me that you're going to lock everybody down and restrict their rights. And as the mayor of New Orleans and the mayor of Champaign, Illinois has done, and of course California and all these others, say you can't go buy guns and you can't buy liquor. And you can't go out but at certain times of the day and night. And you can't be around more than one or, well, how many other people that they decide that you can't be around. Don't destroy the whole division. Don't destroy the whole country because you might lose me. That's bullshit. That's calling reinforcing failure, not reinforcing success. And Trump does that every single time. He always goes to reinforce the failure in everything he does. And I know you don't recognize that, or a lot of you don't, but that's a fact. That's really what happens here almost every time. That has to be by design. If he made his money in business, reinforcing the success of his businesses, not the failures, this is a given. He should know this innately. But you know what? He's never read the Constitution, and I know he's never read the Bible or any other religious or scriptural thing, although I understand, I don't make a big deal about it, but apparently he has those statues of Baphomet and all those other crazy things in his house, I guess. You know, I haven't made a big deal about that. Some people don't know what they are. I'm not saying he doesn't. But anyway, to burn down the whole country to save me, don't you do that. Let me fight my battle, and with the disease, if I lose, I lose. But see, they're trying to say it's a pandemic, that it's going to infect everybody. Well, you still don't have to do it the way they're doing it. Especially these draconian measures that are going into place. Bring out the military to put out some field hospitals, as I've said, is a reasonable thing you can do. I don't have a problem with the military coming out and setting up field hospitals to handle the overflow, if in fact that's even necessary. But I tell you, that's not what we're seeing. I've heard people come on and say, "Oh, the trainloads of vehicles, those are from, they're going to the different depots. They've been shipped out from the manufacturer and they're going to the different depots." No, not all of them. No, that's not true. And especially the convoys on the road. I've been looking at some of these things. They have their weapons systems ready to go. You don't see the weapons, but you can tell all they got to do is mount them. If these were hospital units, and I realize, I think what's happening here is they're betting on riots. They set it up, and then they want to take your guns away from you like they did at Katrina, and like they're doing again in New Orleans and in Champaign, Illinois, etc., so that you can't protect yourself. They've shut down the gun shops in California. So the people that need the guns, the guns aren't a necessary retail outlet. They need to shut. What? No. As a matter of fact, I have a friend in California that was planning on picking up his gun. I'm going to call it a gun. I don't want to give too much away. His gun, when they shut down the retail gun shops, and he can't get it. And he's in a place he needs the damn thing. Because you don't know what these crazy homeless people are going to do. I feel bad for them, but they're a liability. And of course all the people on EBT cards, and not to mention, the Islamic terrorists, the cartels, et cetera, or just regular criminals. And he can't get his means of protection now. So Trump is just, he's played into their hands at every turn. Is he really that stupid? I'm a lowly lieutenant colonel and I could see this happening. And everybody will say, well, he doesn't have good advisors. Googled his name and found out that he was a friend of Hillary Clinton and he's helping to set him up. I mean, Fauci embarrasses him probably on purpose because they're trying to destroy Trump in your mind. And maybe he deserves it, as I've said. But Fauci up there is talking about the hydroxyquinine and saying, no, you can't do that. It's not been tested, et cetera, et cetera. Bullshit. The guy is a big pharma dude, and everybody knows it. My doctor, by the way, thinks that Fauci's a great guy, but I don't think he knows all the details about him. Okay, well, let me cover a couple of other things. So the big thing is here, you don't reinforce failure, you reinforce success. You don't go out there and destroy the whole division to save one squad. You don't do that. And likewise, you don't go out and destroy the whole country to save me. It doesn't work like that. In real life, it doesn't work. And they're trying to pretend like they've got some power over this life and death thing. And the only power they have over that is if they start pulling triggers on us, figuratively or really. Okay. Okay, I've already mentioned everything else I was going to do this morning. Again, the Dow was started to drop again this morning, but the real problem is the closing up of the little shops that really take care of our economy and us as the people. The little restaurants, the servers that go out there and depend on their tips, the people that go to work and service industries that are working with other people, whatever. Those are being hurt. Oh, not Boeing. Boeing's not going to get hurt. They're going to get a bailout, just like the banks are. How much of that $1.5 trillion that they're going to put in there, and they're probably going to do that, every week or something, I hear? How much of that are you really going to get? Oh, you're going to get your $2,000 check every month? Well, let's see how that works out. Best thing to do is to stop this nonsense and let us get back. I agree with changing the economy. Okay, I do. But you don't do it like this. But the scripture says what? Babylon will fall in one day. There's another one that says that Babylon will be burned in one day. Now, is that the U.S.? Well, with all the wickedness and evil we have here, we might deserve it. So what do, ladies and gentlemen? You get ready. What have I said? For how long? Prep, pray, and stay out of the way. I had some goofus say to me the other day, I did see one of the posts on one of my community posts, and he says, well, you better honor your oath, go do something. What? What? Say what? I think that's what everybody wants somebody else to do it. Now calling for Trump to do it, he asked for the job. That's legitimate to say, Trump, you got to do your job. But just a regular person, even if I've got an oath, hey, I've been out of the military since 2004. Yeah, my oath is still viable. But I also know that, a one-man army doesn't work. It don't work. Okay, it doesn't work. I know that from experience. Okay, and I'll end with this. Well, I'll go over, I'll check some of the chats here. I haven't been watching it real close. Do you all know the song Down by the Sea? Are you aware of that? It was done by Men at Work, Down by the Sea. I have no way of putting the link on here when I'm using my phone, but I'd like you to go listen to that. Okay, that's my assignment for you today. Okay, we need good music. I mean, you could listen to Bach, Beethoven, Chopin, Led Zeppelin. I don't really care, but I think this one sends a nice message. It's about love. It's about beautiful places that still have, winters and, little things happening, but the beauty of everything. So I want you to go to YouTube, type in Men at Work. That's the Australian band. Remember the guy with the lazy eye, the singer? His last name is Hay. For some reason, I've forgotten his first name. Bad, bad form. But anyway, so you need to go see Men at Work and Down by the Sea. Okay, and it doesn't matter what version you listen to, live or whatever. Don't listen to one of the ones that Hay did by himself after the band broke up. Listen to the work versions, and there are several of them. You know, the recorded one, the live concert ones. Go listen to those. I want you to listen to the actual Men at Work band Down by the Sea. Colin Hay, thank you. I was having a brain cramp there. Too many things going on. I wasn't sure where it was, what file it was in. So that's your assignment, okay? Go listen to that. Close your eyes, and they do some beautiful movements in that song. Beautiful, beautiful movements, and it'll give you a vision of such a place, okay? And some of the videos, of course, have very nice, video and pictures. Look at the, anyway, I'll just leave it at that. See what you can find, okay? All right. So that's all I've got for you today. Let me go back. I'm not going to be able to look at all the chat. There's been a lot here, but I will do my best to come on tomorrow. I'm a little humbled by this when Nancy said, "Roy, there are people that want to hear from you." Not like you thought I was gone away or anything, but like I said, I don't like cults of personality. I'm not saying you guys are doing that with me, but it's a little uncomfortable that people might be depending upon me like that. Again, the only reason why I ever started this, as you see, I don't, the only pay that my channel gets is the things that Pam Jones made, and the original artists or whatever get royalties from those, but not me. I don't do that, okay? I don't have any advertising on here. I've talked about my books a few times, which are no longer in print anyway. So I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm not here, to get fame, fortune, honor, respect. I came and did this for, well, two reasons. One was to offer my understanding and education and experience in biblical history, in spiritual understanding as it applies to our world, and also to comment on the political and military situation that we find ourselves in all the time. Because I worked for this evil system off and on for 30 years. And I felt like I had to make some type of recompense for that, because while I may not have been directly involved in all the nastiness that happened, I was supporting it right there. Okay, so that's why I did this. It wasn't to get followers. It was so that, one day somebody will say, "Well, what did you do about it, Roy?" And I can say, I gave out as much as I could. I did everything I could. Hell, I even went to Bundy Ranch, right? And I've done some other things like that. But yeah, my son called me the other night. I think he knew that I was kind of down, like a lot of us probably are. He's a good kid. Well, he's a man, of course, but he's very spiritual. He always has been, and he knows his biblical stuff. It's amazing. I didn't think I had made that kind of an impression on any of my kids, but I did on him. And he was saying, he's questioning me because I think he knew innately that I was having some problems. "Oh, don't think that I don't have doubts. Don't think that I don't have questions. Don't think that my faith doesn't waver once in a while, even with all I know and all I've experienced." Okay? Because it does. I look at the people in Dresden, for instance, in World War II, Dresden, Germany. They were mostly refugees that went to Dresden. They were decent people, most women and children. And the Allies, principally Britain, firebombed that city and killed like 200,000. Where was God? There were problems in the Weimar Republic. They got really decadent. They were doing some really bad things. Probably pedophilia, could be. Certainly some really weird sex stuff. And I don't mean between men and women necessarily. Normally, there's a lot of latitude in the scriptures for that. I don't care what prudish Christians say. There's a lot of latitude there. But when you start seeing all these other debased activities, these transgenderisms, the homosexual stuff, the flaunting of sex acts in public, and then of course the thefts, the things that the banks were doing, the secret services, all of these things. Germany got knocked out for it. Well, we're in that spot right now. Look at all the horrible things we've done around the world. Has Trump really tried to pull back from the foreign wars? He keeps saying so. But every time we pull back from one place, we go somewhere else. Or there's a span of time where, they pull out a little bit and then something is orchestrated and they jump back in. So again, my point is that I've done this not for fame, not for fortune, not for followers, but to unload karma. Okay, that's why I did it. To ask God to see, I'm doing the best I can to try to right this. That's what I'm trying to do. Oh yeah, there's a lot of gang stalking. Yeah, no, that's all part of Jade Helm. It's part of the IC. Oh, they harassed me no end. The FBI, their InfraGard people, and also military, probably military intelligence folks. I chased one down one day. Literally, I chased him down because they don't care about the Constitution. They don't care about you, and they're going to follow their orders, even if they're not directly responsible for this. They're going to follow their orders because first of all, they're trained to do that. And most people these days that are in the military, and I hate to say it, but I saw it happening in my time, are losing their grounding in principle. And so that's why they do it. And of course, sometimes they want you to see them and sometimes they don't. Oh, you wouldn't believe the stuff that's happened. Oh yeah. So the Army does that as well as the intelligence communities and the FBI. And they only do it. I mean, they'll tell you, well, it's like with Barr. He wants to have this indefinite detention set up. Really? Really? You know who he's going to go after. Oh, they'll make a few grabs of, MS-13 or, a few Islamists that are out there doing some bad things. But the real reason is right here, you all and me. So they do that to keep track of you, to test their geospatial intelligence information to see how accurate it is, and also to cause you grief. I finally just started ignoring them. Like I said, I'd walk right up to them. They sent a lady to me. I told you this story once. They sent a lady to me in a coffee shop, and I could spot these people. And she came in, just my type, blonde, nicely shaped, and all that. I think I've told the story. But she was a little green, and she got started on the questions she wanted answered a little too early. And I just came out and said, "You're a Fed, but I still like you. You want to go out to dinner?" She was gone. They just do it. I mean, a lot of these IC people, especially, when the NSA is down there in Bluffdale, Utah. So they had a bunch of new NSA agents that didn't have anything to do. Greenies didn't have anything to do. Let's stick them on, a couple of these conservatives. Potter'd be a good one. So, okay. Mike Guyver, so many YouTube channels are talking like the Pied Piper. Well, hopefully I'm not doing that. I'm trying to tell you the way things I really look. Brandy, shalom. Yeah, don't feed the trolls. You're right. Yeah. Well, Michael Friend, thank you for bringing that. He says the crashing of the economy will kill more people than the virus ever will. What did I just talk about, right? It was before I started talking about, but I told you about the commanding generals who reinforce failure instead of success, who risk the entire division to save, a squad of 9, which is exactly what Trump is doing right now. And all these mayors and governors who are all in on it, they're all in on it, willing to sacrifice all of us. And I said, don't sacrifice this country if I get sick. And I think most older people, I'm not quite in the range that they're talking about, but I think most older people, if they understood what was happening here, they'd say, "Oh no, 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 no." Some of them are selfish enough to say, "Yeah, kill off, 50, 20-year-olds because my life's more important than theirs." There are people who think that way, but Trump shouldn't be thinking like that, and neither should these mayors or these governors. Yeah, the U.S. government has earned its mistrust. Mark 18 motto. Yeah, there's nothing trustworthy about the U.S. government, even with Trump being in there. I'm sorry. And if I hurt Gigi Sims' feelings, and I know Nancy, I know she has her ups and downs with Trump. We all do. It's like I said, I will give him accolades when he does the right thing, but when he does this stupid shit, I'm going to call him on it. Mark Pantano is good. Mark Passio, by the way, Nancy Morgan Hart put me on to Mark Passio. That's another one you need to look at on YouTube. Mark Passio, Passio. Worth watching. He and Mark Pantana could be brothers. Well, brothers usually don't agree, but you get my idea. Yeah, your dad lost his job with 37 years, Andy Johnson. I know. That's what I mean. Now, again, I do think that we need to change our economics. I don't mean to change from capitalism. I mean to change the way it's um, the money system works. And I don't mean to take away cash or to go digital. I mean to get it out of the federal banking system. That's what I'm talking about. Because that centralized federal bank, which it isn't federal, of course, we all know that. It's a consortium of private banks that are just ripping the world off in conjunction with the United States government and the IMF, International Monetary Fund, and all of that. That's to keep us down. I mean, people that will be able to get up through there and do the right thing, but it's mostly luck. With the tax system the way it is and the regulations and all that, it's to keep you down and make sure that the elites stay on top. That's got to change. In God's system, it doesn't work like that. As a matter of fact, in God's system, what is the prayer? Give us this day our daily bread. You get thankful for that. You don't go out there and try to rip people off no. There's nothing wrong with storing food, don't get me wrong here. But hoarding, like all those people that are buying toilet paper and then selling 4 rolls for $70, that's the kind of people that these powers that be are. That's exactly who they are. Yeah, Linda. Oh, I'm so sorry, Linda Weston. Yeah, I have close friends that have businesses at home. Close friends that have businesses using Chinese products. They should have gotten away from them years ago. They're out of work. They're not doing it. Yeah. Okay. I'm just looking to see if I can address anything real quick here. What Trump said to the governors weren't doing enough. What Trump said the governors weren't. Well, I agree that it should be at the state level more than the federal level. But the problem now is that the governors certain governors, even Abbott, I don't think he's made the final decision yet, but he was talking about having a lockdown in Texas. Now, Dallas Fort Worth has already done that. I don't think it's statewide now, but this is just going too far. It's like I said, they're destroying the division. I'm going to use that analogy again. The general's destroying his division to save a squad of 9. That's lunacy. That is absolute lunacy. Trump has no experience in this stuff, and he just listens to anybody, or he's complicit. Now, is encouraging a social distancing to some extent, not from family, not from friends, but when you're out in public. But we do that anyway, by and large, don't we? I mean, if you've got a seat, you go into a restaurant, if you've got a table that's not right next to somebody else, don't you naturally go to that one? I think so. Washing of hands and all the things that we should do, hygiene wise. But then, like I said, the homeless are still out there. They're letting them roam free. Illegal immigrants still coming in. The border's not closed down. Trump says he closed the border. No, he didn't. He closed the Oh shucks. Anyway, the checkpoints coming in. That's what he like, and yet they're still doing it for shopping purposes. They're letting people come across for shopping purposes. What he says, even if he means it, he has no power to stop them from doing it. I thought the border patrol would be cooperative, but we need the military on the border. Oh, the military can get deployed all over for this virus, right? The Wuhan virus. But no, they can't go on the border, and they'll say that's posse comitatus, and that's horse shit. It's horse shit. I even hear military people think that that's posse comitatus, violation of posse comitatus. No, it isn't. That's exactly what the military is supposed to do. That. Yeah, I know a nurse that said the same thing, Brett Lucas, that this is all overkill. I agree. But see, everybody's making money off of it now, right? Um, yeah, it's possible that this, well, I'm not going to go there today. I'm looking at some other things before I say that this is a complete hoax. There's no doubt that it's being used by governments to seize more power and to scare the people. Yeah, there's no doubt that that's happening. Okay, and that is how a bioweapon would be used, whether or not it really is. Okay, that it's being used as a buying weapon. Yeah, they're killing off Main Street. Yeah, truth has no agenda. Trump is signaling China virus as code for Chinese takeover. Pardon me, I burped. Well, he has been saying for a long time that we should never send our manufacturing to China, like our pharmaceuticals, our steel, all that. I agree. I agree. And yet, the people that did that, who did that, Americans who did that to us, they're still roaming free. Oh, is it because he can't prove they violated any laws? They're just not looking hard enough. They'd rather go after ranchers in Nevada, and they'd rather go after people on the street that are just trying to exercise their human rights to be with each other and to support each other. They'd rather put us in jail than those people. So Trump talks a good line. We knew that they were good. If Trump was for real, and I hear Alex Jones, man, he drives me crazy. I still like his stuff by and large, but man, he'll start saying, poor Trump this and poor Trump that, and I'm going, no, I'm sorry. You know, a lot of what Trump says is absolutely spot on, but he has no anticipatory leadership abilities, apparently, none. Either by complicity, by design, or by incompetence. I don't know which it is. He relies too much on Kushner and Ivanka. He does. I saw somebody mention that earlier. I agree. Um, and that's not good either for a lot of reasons. But we're not going to go there today. Yeah, the Fed's going to buy all the assets now. Yeah, I know. And you're going to be forced into vaccinations. I ain't taking one. As a matter of fact, I should have gone to the VA for a problem I had a couple weeks back, and I didn't because I know what they're going to do. They're going to say, I can't leave until I get a vaccine. Yeah, I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it. Yeah, that's the straight barrel 62, and that's legitimate. Yeah, don't go into the old homes. Visit. Like you do prisoners. I hate to put it that way, but put up a positive airflow area, and which isn't a big deal, and just separate. Let them have visitors, but separate them. There are other ways that this could have been handled, and it would have been far less intrusive and problematic. Yeah, I believe this is a takeover. Yeah, I think well, Alex has been studying these things for years, um, and even I knew that it would be something like this that they would use to finally destroy what was left. I mean, they've destroyed the Bill of Rights and the Constitution pretty much. And I put out a tweet this morning that the people in D.C. have more respect for used toilet paper than they do for the Constitution. It's really true. It's really true. All right, let me see here. Event 201, yeah, that was another sign that something weird is going on here. Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. And the numbers aren't adding up. I don't know if you've been watching that. And now, like I said a few minutes ago, Italy, it's been found they were including all sorts of people dying for all other causes. They were contributing it to or attributing it to the Wuhan virus. And there might be different strains of the virus, but yeah, and the 5G, as I said, it isn't the main thing that's the problem. The virus is, but the 5G could be a trigger. Yeah, it could be a trigger. Uh, I do believe, I've talked to people that believe they're targeted individuals. On regular surveillance, I can see that's probably true. I'm not certain about, these different other weapons, of different things, but, I do know people, I'm not going to name them, but I do know people that have some weird things happen to them that shouldn't. And so it might be that they're using this to direct 5G to, if you get a vaccine, especially, and it has a certain adjuvant in it or whatever that can, under a 5G radiation or a 5G signal, disrupt DNA or whatever, or enhance that disruption or whatever, cause a heart attack. I have no doubt that that's the case. They have stuff out there. I mean, when I was in the service, I knew about stuff that was out of this world, literally. So, and that's been, good grief, I left the service in 2004. That's 16 years ago. Oh, yeah, man, what could they not have there? Yeah, America's not free. It's a joke. No, Trump isn't rounding up the deep state. Oh, you're laughing about it. Yeah, Brandon Joseph. No, he hasn't rounded up anybody. As a matter of fact, he talks more about letting the mayors and governors round us up for, exercising our right to free association. They'll round us up while they're letting, you know, criminals go free, drug dealers, whoever else out there. And as one person pointed out, Trump said he was going to release nonviolent prisoners. Well, the problem with that is, and I agree that our jails are used too much by our system. I'm not going to disagree with that. This roundup of shop owners and people like us, is an example of how they'd use that. But the problem with releasing criminals that are considered nonviolent is a lot of times they plea bargain down to something lesser that doesn't, they may have done a violent thing and they plea bargained it down. So I don't think he has any safety valves in there to control that, to make sure that doesn't happen. Trump is being blackmailed, extorted, or he's complicit. And because of his statements, again, I hate to say this, but right after the election, it was 2 or 3 days after the election, he's in an interview, and the interviewer, a lady, it may have been Maria, I'm not really sure who it was, I don't remember, Maria Bartiromo, I'm not sure who it was. But this lady asked him, well, are you going to prosecute the Clintons? And he goes, oh no, they're good people. Oh, gee. If he had said, well, we're going to see about that, like he does so many other things, we're going to see, but no, he came right out and called them good people. And I said right then and there, something's not right in Denmark. That's probably considered ethnically a slur or something. But and then of course there was the whole situation that we saw later, especially on the Second Amendment, his failure to act on these things that the social medias are doing, the surveillance. I thought he ordered Coates, when Coates was in there as DNI, to stop the surveillance of Americans. Well, now it looks like he might sign this extension. I mean, there's a little drama going back and forth here. Rand Paul, who of course got the Wuhan virus now, interesting. Rand Paul rather was saying, no, we can't give this extension of the NDAA, the Patriot Act and the FISA surveillance. We need to just take that apart. And Trump is saying, he's arguing on the surface of this drama, but I have a feeling that he'll sign it. I do, in the end. And I've said that from the start. And I made that mistake that one day where I thought that he actually had, but it was the way the article was written with newness that confused me there, because I only saw the one. Well, Nancy M., okay, you're saying Trump is keeping it fairly voluntary as long as possible. I again refer to the fact he has Fauci on his team. I refer to the fact that We're finding out that the Italian numbers are way out of line. I point out South Korea, Taiwan, Japan. Yeah, it needs to remain voluntary, and the government needs to tell us what's really going on because their story isn't adding up. The numbers don't add up. The storyline doesn't add up. There are too many snafus. We talked about the presidential seal. We talked about the live exercise statement. And I know Nancy had some other explanations for that, but I'm still looking at that from a military standpoint about why because he was an Army officer. You know that, right? Pompeo. And he used the term live exercise. That's a problem for me. Big problem. Okay, we've been going for, geez, almost an hour. I didn't mean to do this. You guys talked me into staying on longer than I really wanted to today because I need to go watch what else is going on. Wuhan wiggle, yeah, that's what Monograph calls it. Well, Nancy M. again, you're saying Trump has to rely on info from lying frauds. At some point, he's got to be responsible for his own education. Okay? He took an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. Yet he on the surface, violates the First, Second, and Fourth Amendments. He either doesn't understand it, right, or he's complicit. There's no other explanation. We didn't hire him to make all this bravado. And people say, well, he didn't really know what he was getting into. Nobody wants to help him. So you're going to let him use that excuse to walk all over you and destroy your life? Okay. All right. Give him all the excuses he wants. If you want to do that. Yeah, Nancy, I agree. I don't mean to ignore you, but I need to get some other people. This is Nancy M., not Nancy Morgan Hart. Trump should have replaced all these experts. I agree. But he kept hiring more. If I had made the same mistakes as an Army officer that President Trump has made, I'd have been court-martialed. At least given non-judicial punishment. This is insane to give him all these excuses for his failure to act. Yeah, trust in God, I agree. Trump is not God, people. Okay, that might be true, Michelle. That might be true. He has to work in the system, but there are some things he can do that he has not done, and I'm not going to spend the day talking about it. I've already mentioned it. Okay, I've already mentioned a lot of this. He asked for the job. I still think the evidence for me weighs in on that Trump was a placation, a sedation, an anesthesia for the conservatives to think that things were going to go their way when all along, by and large, there have been a few exceptions, but by and large, he's been a slow-mo Hillary Rodham Clinton. Look at the evidence. I don't see any reason for the deep state and the people in Congress and the Senate to be upset at him because he's practically given them everything they want. What has he held back from them? Oh, he kept Pelosi from going on a C-130 to Afghanistan. That's the big thing that he stopped? Really? It's show. Those are showmanship, magic tricks. Okay, I'm going to speed down to the end and then I'm going to go. Sorry I couldn't answer everybody, but man, there are a lot of chats this morning. Like I say, we've gone already for an hour. Nancy Morgan Hart, I know you were here. I hope what I've done this morning is what you would have wanted. Ladies and gentlemen, I came on because of her. Okay, I came on because she asked me to, and I will probably be on tomorrow. Oh, Nancy M., good. Nobody's making you stay at home. I go shopping daily, just take precautions. And that's the way it should be. Yeah, that's the way it should be. But there are places in the country where they're saying, you got to stay in your house. Hey, Arnold Schwarzenegger even came out and said, you ought to stay in your home, Feet, what are those? Shetland ponies he was feeding? I don't know what the heck. And now the Dallas, Fort Worth, I'm not sure who that guy is, but now he says that you have to stay at home. Yeah, the military should turn on the banksters, Jack Kennedy. Exactly. See, that's what I'm saying. They're coming after us little people for these idiotic things. And yet, this entire Wuhan virus and bioweapon situation, the whole deal was put into motion by people like Brennan and Clapper and Hayden and Comey and Clinton and probably Obama himself. But those guys aren't going to get in trouble. Yeah, they should be going after those people. None of them have been collared yet. None of them. But they want to come after you for meeting with 10 of your friends. Man, this is insane. Again, remember my allegory, and I can't keep up with all these, so I'm just going to end here. Remember my allegory of the commanding general at the NTC at Fort Irwin being shown that he can't destroy his whole division to save a squad of 9. You don't do that. And Trump and all these mayors and all these people are wrong to destroy the whole country to think they're going to save little old me. Look at the numbers for the flu, the seasonal flu. Is this a test to see how the country can react? If a real bioweapon is released, something really nasty? Maybe. Maybe. But even then, how far do you go to restrict the perfect law of liberty? How far do you go? Or do you give the people the tools to let them deal with it and to govern themselves? Okay, we'll talk later. I'll get back with you probably tomorrow morning, okay? All right. Okay. Out here for now. I hope that was a little bit of a decent talk. Okay. Again, Nancy Morgan-Hart, thanks for asking me to do that. That was nice of you to intervene there. Liza Jean, thank you for being a moderator and being here. And whoever else. I didn't notice any other moderators here. I know Nancy Morgan-Hart has a wrench, and Liza Jean, and I didn't see Jesse Waltman of BP Earthwatch or Roosevelt or any of those. Roosevelt's might still be under the weather. And then there's Kay Smalls. I haven't seen her in a long time. Hopefully she's okay. Okay, I'm going. Everybody will talk later, okay? Out here for now.